Anyway, let us get on to some of the other exciting things that you can find at openminds.tv, and that is the daily UFO headlines from around the world, and we are always very fortunate to have Jason McClellan here to talk news with us. Jason, talk some news to us.
I am ready to talk news. Hello, Alejandro, and greetings, everyone, out in Radioland and in Videoland. This is your Open Minds News Brief for Monday, July 18th, 2011. Well, Space Exploration Technologies, better known as SpaceX, broke ground last week on a new launch pad. The company's CEO, Elon Musk, as well as state and local officials were on hand for the groundbreaking ceremony that took place at Vandenberg Air Force Base, northwest of Los Angeles, California. SpaceX is renovating an old launch pad from the 1960s at the base to be able to accommodate their mammoth Falcon Heavy rocket. Falcon Heavy is still being constructed by the company and will reportedly be the world's most powerful rocket, capable of sending cargo and possibly even people into space. According to the Huffington Post, the renovations of the launch pad are expected to cost between $20 and $30 million and will take 18 months to complete. The company's goal is to launch Falcon Heavy from the new launch pad in 2013. With NASA's Space Shuttle program coming to a close, companies like SpaceX will likely fill the void. And as Huffington Post points out, SpaceX already has a contract with NASA to supply the International Space Station with cargo using its smaller Falcon 9 rocket, and the company hopes to secure additional contracts with NASA and other customers, which could include taking satellites into space as well as humans on future manned exploration missions. We talk a lot about SpaceX. They're one of the more exciting companies right now with their propulsion systems anyway.
Well, and this whole, I mean, it's just very fascinating to watch this revolution, this change in our whole spacefaring initiatives, changing to the privatization. It's kind of scary because the private sector moves a little slower because they have to realize some profit in their ventures. But, and of course, safety is always kind of scary with those type of things since NASA's been doing this for so long. But I think people would agree, you know, we need to cut, and I would rather see, I'm a space fanatic, but I'd rather see, you know, maybe a few less rocket launches than to see Medicare or Medicaid cut. I mean, or Social Security, people who really need that money.
It's a lot of big-time bucks spent on this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about this a lot, but I mean, even this, and I pointed this out to you during last week, that this just renovating a launch pad. The launch pad's already there. They're not starting from scratch. This is already a base, already a launch pad. They're renovating it to be able to handle this bigger rocket. But just that renovation alone is costing $30 million.
Yeah. And you know the problem, and it comes back to defense, which, of course, UFO people are always talking about, because defense costs so much. Those contractors, those companies charge so much for everything that they do that those same technologies which they want to use in space programs, these costs are inflated because they're using them to build missiles. And so everything is very expensive in that whole industry. So, of course, I'd much rather see a few less missiles being built and rockets than jet fighters or other things that are...
Absolutely, and that's why we need Steven Spielberg and the like to stop making these television shows and movies about invading aliens.
Quit scaring the hell out of everybody.
That's right. We want to go meet the aliens. And
shake their hand.
We don't need to shoot them.
Yep.
Yeah. But I will disagree with you. I think that, you know, with the private sector...
Turn his microphone off.
I think things will move more quickly.
Maybe.
You know, I think with NASA, we look at a lot of the same technology being used that's been around since the 60s.
I hope so, but then look at Spaceship 1, Spaceship 2. How long? I mean, 2 years ago they did their test flight, and they're still a year or two out to doing, you know, their regular flights. Although they've already broken ground and they're building their spaceport in New Mexico. That's exciting.
Very exciting.
But I hope you're right.
Yeah, the private space industry is definitely exciting, and you know, it's certainly all new to everybody, so it's exciting to watch how it develops. Well, earlier this month, Fireball UFOs were filmed in both Georgia and Mexico. Now another Fireball UFO video has surfaced. The video shows a Russian rocket transforming during different stages of the initial launch, then strange flickering balls of light appear near the object, causing some to speculate that UFOs were disarming the rocket. The Epoch Times describes this video, stating, "Several tiny white lights are flashing around the object and its tail, both glowing with a whitish light, probably due to the effect of filming a computer screen, as the core becomes semi-translucent with a striped appearance." However, the rocket captured here is most likely the Soyuz 2, the rocket carrying 6 satellites from Kazakhstan, launched early in the morning the same day the videos were uploaded. The Soyuz 2 rocket is a 3-stage carrier-type rocket designed for delivering payloads into lower orbit, and the strange transformation seen in the video is most likely caused by the different stages of burn. But we don't know.
Debunking another one of my favorite videos.
Oh, I'm not debunking at all.
Yeah,
in fact,
you
I
did.
give credit to the debunking on this one to Maureen. But
Oh, really?
but this
That's
video
a cool video.
It's
It is
one
such
of
a
the
cool video.
Yeah, most interesting videos we've seen in a long time, and
Yeah.
it reminded me a lot of something out of the movie The Abyss.
Mm-hmm.
Some sort of organic, like weird.
Yeah. But you're right. I mean, also, you know, when it's a small object and then it explodes and gets big, but it does look like on TV when the stage is, you know,
Right.
one stage moving to the next where it's blowing up. It's a very cool video, though.
I highly recommend watching it.
Mm-hmm.
And we have
Me
that
too.
on our website, openminds.tv.
Excellent.
A 36-year-old bus driver was watching television last Monday night when she noticed a light hovering above the trees behind her home. She was startled by the light because she lives in a very rural part of town, and the area behind her house is undeveloped for miles. She described the hovering object as having red, blue, and white twinkling lights. She grabbed her camera and took a few photos of the object. She watched the object for approximately 30 minutes, and she noted how eerily silent it was when the object was hovering. Living near a swamp, the night is normally filled with sounds of frogs, crickets, and other swamp creatures, but it was quiet. The next morning, she went to explore the area beneath where the object had been hovering, and she discovered an 8-foot by 10-foot area of tall grass that had been flattened. Interesting story.
Yeah, that is a weird one. I don't remember reading that one.
I think we read it together, Alejandro.
Huh.
This was the
Story
UFO in
time.
Killingsley.
Oh,
Killingly.
okay. Okay.
So, and
Yeah, very interesting one.
And another interesting fact about this story is this woman, though her current occupation is a bus driver, she was formerly an Air Force policewoman. So I would assume that an Air Force policewoman is trained in observation.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that is a very
So her story is
interesting.
interesting, and it has a lot of other things other than just a sighting of a light in the sky. You know, she's got the silence of everything, not just the silence of the craft, no noise coming from the craft, but everything was silent. And then this flattening of the tall grass in the area.
Was this one of those stories, though, that didn't show the picture? I think it was.
No, show the picture.
Oh, it did.
Yep.
Because I know we've ran across a couple of those.
Right.
Where it says, even in the
Lots of
title,
interesting-
photograph of UFO, and then they don't include the
Yeah,
photo.
lots of interesting sighting stories lately, but
Yeah.
no photo with the story,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate. This one does have a photo, and it shows this weird light kind of above the trees.
Killingsley, I remember that.
Yep. Just a quick crop circle story here. A huge 200-foot crop circle appeared in Wiltshire, England last week, just across the street from Stonehenge. The circle is extremely large and contains what some have interpreted as 3 half moons. And I always kind of laugh at some people's interpretations of crop circles because, you know, they could be anything. It's just like constellations. You look in the sky or clouds and go, there's an
Yeah.
elephant.
Yeah.
But interesting. Did you see that one? It's
yeah.
It's literally across the street from Stonehenge.
Yeah, and I think what's cool about the Stonehenge ones, this is a big one. It's another elaborate, very pretty one. And, you know, Stonehenge has a lot of tourists.
Right.
So they have tourists all day long. And I remember even last year one happened across the street from Stonehenge. And they actually interviewed the security guard. And he said, you know, I'm here all day. And I came in, I left last night, there was nothing across the street, came in the morning, and it's there. So he's like, I don't, you know, these people have to make these things overnight, and that's so huge, I don't know how they could do it. So this one didn't have an interview with the security guard, but the same thing applies. It's pretty incredible.
Right. I feel bad for the farmers in that area, though.
Yeah.
Their crops always get trashed.
Yeah, they don't like it.
I mean, if I were a farmer there, I would definitely be setting up a ticket booth and charging admission.
Well, they
'cause you've gotta
do
recover
that
the
in
cost of your
order,
crops.
yeah, to recuperate. But, and people argue, oh, maybe it's a farmer doing it to make money.
Right.
But the farmers point out, they don't make money. They recuperate a little bit of their losses
Right.
from that. They don't
Right.
make money off of that. And on top of it, when people are traipsing all over the crops, they even destroy more.
Yeah. Yep. I feel bad for those farmers.
Yep, and they can't catch the suckers.
Right. Those security guards need to wake up.
Yeah, well. Yep.
Well, hopefully here's a story we can hopefully now put to bed and never mention again. But the UFO-like silver helium balloon that grabbed the nation's attention back in 2009 has been sold. I'm talking, of course, about the infamous balloon created by Richard Heene in the Balloon Boy hoax, where a Colorado couple said that their son had floated away in the balloon. The Heenes put the balloon up for auction earlier this month, and an anonymous man who paid more than $2,500 is the new owner of this worthless balloon. That $2,500 will fortunately go to a more worthwhile cause than going to the Heenes. The money is reportedly being given to Japanese earthquake and tsunami relief funds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his wife is Japanese.
Correct.
So I don't think this is the last we're going to hear of Heen, though. I mean, he did this as a marketing stunt. He's kind of he's a ham, and he tries to get into the spotlight. And he did that with this.
He wanted his own reality show.
Yeah, well, when he put this balloon up for sale, at first he put it up for like $2 million. Right. And he got news then. So, yeah, we're going to hear about this jokester some more.
And I think probably the reason that they're giving the money to charity is because he didn't get as much as he thought he would. He thought he had some sort of gold mine here. But, and it's funny because this $2,500 doesn't even come close to covering his legal the fees that he had to pay for tricking everybody for the fraud. That was something like $36,000 they had to pay. So.
Well, he's lucky he didn't go to prison. I mean, that's such an awful thing to do. These guys are busy, chasing this balloon when they could have been out saving other people's lives. Hopefully nobody else got hurt.
A lot of resources were used with that, and you remember every single news station was live feeding that, showing the balloon in the sky, saying, "Oh, there's a boy on a balloon."
Yeah, it was scary.
And that went on. Lots of local authorities were trying to chase the balloon down, and yep. So $36,000 you got off easy.
Character.
Oh yeah. And Alejandro, here's something that made me think of you. A local news website in Pennsylvania posted an article last week, and in the article they highlighted 10 things you should do if you see a UFO. Something they quoted directly from MUFON. And I'm sure, Alejandro, you can probably recite these from heart, being that you are a field investigator and you were the public education director for MUFON.
Yeah, what is it? Run, number 1. 2, crawl under the bed. 3, try not to cry too loud.
You skipped one.
Oh, okay.
Actually, you're not far off. But let's start with number 1. Number 1, Alejandro, the most important thing you need to do right off the bat is remain calm, but protect yourself from any hazards, real or perceived. I think that's a little pessimistic there.
Yeah.
When I see a UFO, I get excited. I don't think about protecting myself. I don't feel threatened by UFOs.
Well, the perceived part is the dangerous part because, of course, people can mistake a plane for a UFO and they're running inside. But
I guess also you should look out for the hazards if there's a fireball UFO coming and it's actually a plane that's crashing or a meteor coming and it's going to hit you. You're
exactly.
All, wow, UFO.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so remain calm. And then number 2 is be objective. Not every UFO is extraterrestrial. That's a very good point.
Oh, yeah, that's the best.
I like that one. Number 3, use a camcorder or camera to record the event. That's also a great one. However, they don't mention anything about a tripod, which is unfortunate.
Oh, they need to mention the tripod.
Amend that one, tripod. Or if you have a tape recorder, record your descriptions of the event as it happens. And that's really good too,
a great one.
Because in the heat of the moment, the adrenaline running and everything, even hours later, you forget details that could be important.
Which is probably the next one.
If other witnesses are present, ask them to also write or record their observations.
Yeah, the thing is, write down, and every time you get a call or an email, write down your experience immediately. As much detail as you can because your memory starts to fade. And once your memory fades, your brain has a funny habit of putting things in there that didn't
filling
happen.
In the gaps.
Yeah.
Yep. And with other witnesses, it's good to have the corroborating evidence too, so you can
names and phone numbers too.
Yeah. Let's see, number 6. If the UFO left some trace of its presence behind, do not disturb the area around it. And why is that, Alejandro?
Just like in any criminal case, so you don't disturb any evidence where things are lying, and of course there's some danger possibly.
But what if What if you found the trace evidence? Would you then go in the area and do your investigation?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
But these are guides for non-certified investigators, and there's even some MUFON investigators I wouldn't want traipsing around.
Number 7, if the sighting is from a distance at an arm's length, what would it take to cover up the object? A quarter? A penny?
Yeah, that's the most common one. So when you reach out your arm, and you know what, for interesting, the moon, I mean, what they say is a Tylenol. If you hold out your hand holding a Tylenol, it'll cover the moon. And even for, supposedly, for that effect where on the horizon the moon looks really big is where when it's above you. Supposedly, if you hold out a Tylenol, it'll cover up the moon even when it's at the horizon.
But Tylenol comes in different shapes and sizes.
Well, not in the old days.
Not in the old days. Things were much simpler back then. Now we got the
it's
gel
one
caps
size
and the
fits
liquid
all.
caps. And
Yep.
yeah, let's see. Try to judge the distance from you to the object's altitude, and its speed. That's always a tough one.
Yeah, that's nearly impossible, but people can take the best stab. Otherwise, I mean, someone, if you read like Bruce Maccabee's analysis, that's the first thing he does is he relates it to, and which it should be said in pictures or in video, get some sort of establishing shot where you have a tree or something with the object, because someone like Bruce Maccabee can figure out the height of the tree and then the angle from you to the top of the tree and start to try to figure out a general idea of the height.
Right. Yeah, I mean, with things in the sky, it's difficult. You know, we've got very little to compare, but, you know, some things we see in the sky a lot are birds and airplanes. So with speed, you can sort of use those as a comparison. You can say it moved about as fast as an airplane usually does, or it was at the height of an airplane that an airplane usually flies.
Well, and the cool thing with a thing like what Bruce does is then you can at least tell, okay, if that thing was a mile away, then it was 20 feet. You know, if it was 2 miles away, it was 100 feet. So that at least that gives you kind of an idea. And then the same with the speed.
Number 9 is, should you encounter some type of extraterrestrial being associated with the craft, be prepared to take evasive action to protect yourself. Again, I don't think that's necessary.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's lose-lose. You can, like, try to talk to it, or you can run, but if it wants to catch you, I don't think you're getting away.
I think I'm beat, yeah.
You've got as much luck,
I think if I take a swing at it, it'll just piss him off.
Yeah.
And number 10, immediately report the event to openminds.tv.
Is that number 10?
That's number 10.
Wow, great.
Or any other UFO research organization.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the
Definitely.
10. Did you have those memorized?
Yeah. No, I didn't have those memorized.
Oh, I'm sure you presented those many times, Mr. Education.
Not in those 10, but in a different way.
Oh, okay.
Although, see, a couple of them, like if you meet an ET, be prepared to defend yourself. I mean, I wouldn't have something like that.
I can imagine you presenting those and acting them out at the same time, doing all sorts of karate chops and things.
There, you take a picture.
Yeah, absolutely.
Take a picture, take a video, have it sign a release that says, I testify that I am from another planet other than Earth. So then you know it's extraterrestrial. So at least then you have a legal document. So if he's lying and he is from Earth, you can sue him at a later date for pain and suffering.
Well, and I think this goes back up to number 5 or whatever it was. I mean, if there's an extraterrestrial there, that's someone else there at the sighting. So you need to get his account as well.
Yeah,
His
what
or
did
her.
you see?
Yeah, take the tape recorder, get his account.
I saw this weird-looking Earthling.
Yep, that will help.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Alejandro, that is it for the news. Remember to check out these stories and more at openminds.tv, your source for UFO-related news. I'm Jason McClellan, your Open Minds news correspondent, and you've been briefed.